I've wanted to make this video for a very long time, where I just kind of talk about my faith. I want to do it more often, but I do think that it takes courage, and sometimes I don't have this courage to sit down and make this video. I'm not making this video so I can say, look at me, I'm perfect, or look at me, I'm going on the right path, and these people aren't. None of that crap, because I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect. We'll never be perfect, or at least not in this lifetime. And this earth that we live on together is certainly not a perfect earth. You look around and there's tons of beauty. There's flowers of hundreds of different varieties and colors. At nighttime you see the stars, and in the morning you can see the sunrise, and you can think to yourself, well, this is a beautiful earth. But at the same time, you can look around and see the racism or poverty or the sick and the starving or the school shootings, or you turn on the news and there's been another terrorist attack, and it's easy to think that there's no God. Or if there is a God, he's a million miles away and he doesn't care about us. Because if he did, why would he let innocent children die or the people that we love grow sick? And I had that state of mind for many years of my life, up until about a year ago, really. But I got good news, and it's that God is not far away. God is very close. He's with all of us, even when we don't want him, even when we mock his name or spit on his name or even say that we don't want him in our hearts. He never leaves us. He never will. It says in John 20:29, faithful is the one who believes without seeing. And I'm just going to use this kind of metaphor. The wind. Why do you believe that there's wind? You can't see wind, but you can feel it, and more importantly, you can see its effects in the world. You can see a tree blown over in a storm. That's how you know wind's there. Or you're on the beach and you throw a frisbee and it moves through the air. That's because of wind. God works in the same exact way. He's like the wind. We can't see him with our eyes, at least not on this earth, but we can see his effects. Anytime a couple gets married, or anytime you feel joy or happiness in your life, or anytime a hungry person is getting fed, or somebody is getting healed, that's the presence of God. That's the effect of God. God is in everything good. But there's also bad, there's also evil and wickedness in this earth. And it's not to be pretended that it's not here, because it very much is. In the Bible it also says that this battle that we face on earth is not of flesh and bone. It's not human against human, but it's of the forces of good and bad going on in this earth. There's a constant battle of what's good, which is God, and there's also the constant battle which is what's bad, which is sin. And all of us have our vices, all of us sin. And that's what keeps us from God. That's why God feels a million miles away. It's not because of him, but it's because of our own doings. We were born that way. It's not that we came about it just by choice, because a lot of us feel like we don't have the choice in following God. A lot of us say there is no God, or if there is, I don't want anything to do with him because there's too many rules. It's unfair of him to judge me. I don't want any of that. And I also pose this question. We were all created to worship, and you may say, I don't want to worship a God, but you're already worshiping something. You could be worshiping a TV show on Netflix, or a celebrity, or money, that's a big one, or work. That's proof enough that there is a God, because we were created to worship. It just matters what we worship, and that thing should be God. So in my life, that was still is really hard to come across, because I still have my moments of doubt. I still want to put my faith in other things, the things of this earth. But it also says in the Bible in James 4:14 that our life is but a vapor. It's here one minute and it's gone the next. So that's proof enough that life goes like that. We don't know when our last breath will be, but we know it's going to happen. We know that it doesn't last. This earth doesn't last. And the same thing can be said about the things of this earth. Money, and fancy cars, fancy houses, all of that is also but a vapor. It's here one minute and gone the next. So none of us are perfect. So how do we get to God? How do we get to him? Well, that's through his son Jesus. His son Jesus lived a perfect life because we never could. No works that we could do, no good deeds could ever get us to God. And a lot of people who are new to that faith feel that it's unfair. It says God's standards are so high, and if we're never meant to get there, then that's just, we were failed from the start. And in a way we were. And God saw that, he understood that, and his heart broke with ours, so he came down in human form, and Jesus lived a sinless life. He was the perfect sacrifice. He was the only way to the Father. Jesus is the light of the world. He's life. He's the truth. So that's good news, is that we can have a relationship with God. We can get to heaven, and it's all through him. Now, a lot of you may not know him, or you may have heard of him, and it's just kind of, it's a myth. It's 1,000 years old. It doesn't apply to today, but I will tell you, one of the most tragic mistakes you can do is not taking God up on his offer. Is when we all die, we either go to heaven, or it's unpopular to say, but we go to hell. And hell isn't a place where God punishes us. Hell is a place where there's no God, there's no love. On this earth, there's a mix of good and evil, so you can love another human being, you can forgive another human being, and that's the presence of God. But in hell, there's none of that. You'll never be able to love another human again. You'll never be able to feel compassion for another human. You won't feel joy. You won't feel anything good. It will be only bad. Why would you want that? Why wouldn't you take Jesus up on that offer of salvation, and all you have to do is talking to him? He wants an honest relationship, an open relationship. He already knows your heart. He already knows my heart. He just wants us to hear it, confess to him, and to bring it to him, all of our burdens, all of our things that we've done wrong, we've treated others poorly, or we've treated ourselves poorly. We can tell him that and say, Jesus, I'm struggling with this. I don't feel like I can go on with life anymore. Or my family, they make fun of me for the way I look, for the way I dress, and I don't know how to deal with it. That's okay. You don't have to know how to deal with it, because God already does. So bring it to God and be honest with him and tell him how you feel. Don't go to him when you're just down in the dumps, but also go to him when you're happy, when you're feeling joy, when your sports team won the championship. Say, hey, God, thank you for giving me the strength to do this. If you're new to this faith, building faith is an important thing, because it's hard to believe in something when you don't see it. It's hard to believe in something when you don't see it. And that's why it says that faithful is the one who believes without seeing. So how do you believe without seeing? Well, you spend time in the Word, you read the Bible and ask questions, or you talk to other people who are also on this journey, and are also on this path. And also the biggest, most important thing is you just talk to Jesus. You just talk to him like a friend. Sit down before you go to bed, when you wake up, or you can do it now, and say, and tell him what's on your heart. Give God the glory, but also bring him your burdens. I want to talk more about my faith and more about this in greater detail. So I'm going to probably do that in the future, but I just wanted to say that there's good news, that God isn't a million miles away. He's here. He's with us all, and he loves us all. And the only thing he wants in the world, the only thing, is for us to talk with him, to have a relationship with him. And one day, when our last breath leaves our body, once again, we don't know when that will be, but we will see God. We will see Jesus. Hopefully we don't see him as a judge, but we see him as a friend and as somebody who forgives. So stay faithful. And if you're not feeling too faithful, we'll build up that faith by spending time in his word, talking with others, and talking with him. Thank you guys. Have a good weekend.